De Europeanen.
Des Européens.
Die Europäer.
Gli europei uniti nella diversità.
Die Europäische Union, EU, ist ein Zusammenschluss demokratischer europäischer Länder.
De Europese Unie, de EU.
L'Union européenne est une famille de pays démocratiques européens.
L'Unione Europea è una famiglia di paesi europei democratici.
Is een familie van democratische Europese landen
che si sono impegnati a lavorare assieme per la pace e la prosperità.
It is not a state intended to replace existing states.
Det er ikke en stat, som skal afløse de bestående stater.
But it is more than just another international organization.
Organizațiuni internaționale.
Η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση είναι όντως μοναδική.
The EU is, in fact, unique. Its member states have set up common institutions in which they delegate some of their sovereignty.
C'est une organisation unique en son genre.
L'Unione Europea è infatti qualcosa di unico.
Gli Stati membri
hanno creato una serie di istituzioni comuni a cui delegano una parte della loro sovranità
so that decisions on specific matters of joint interest
in modo che le decisioni su questioni
can be made democratically at
possano
European
essere
level.
democraticamente a livello europeo.
Europa är en kontinent med många olika
Europa è un continente con molte
az egységet hirdeti a különbözőségek megőrzése mellett.
aby sa rozhodnutia prijímali čo najbližšie k občanom.
Promoting unity while preserving diversity and ensuring that decisions are taken as close as possible to the citizens.
В днешния свят на все по-голяма
când depindem tot mai mult de alții,
за европейските граждани ще бъде още по-важно да се
Every European citizen to cooperate.
u duhu znatiželje, tolerancije i solidarnosti.
И солидарност.
I solidaritate.
Et de solidarité.
I solidarnost.
И солидарност.
I solidaritate.
Et de solidarité.
Curiosity, tolerance and solidarity.
Aufgeschlossenheit, Toleranz und Solidarität zusammenzuarbeiten.
Curiosité,
Curiosità,
tolleranza et de solidarité.
Curiosity, tolerance,
I solidarnosti.
Hello everyone. So my name is Frank Heather and my project, GlobalVoices, is a multilingual choral project celebrating the role of interpreters as facilitators in building a global community. I just wanted to clear up and talk about what has been mentioned already through Saskia's and Heather's works, that we have translators who work with the written form of language, interpreters who work with spoken, and their challenges are very, very different. And inside interpreting, you have consecutive interpreters, which for me was really interesting seeing Saskia's work, looking at this role, like she was saying, the dynamic, even through body language and how they dictate. Because what I have been focusing on is simultaneous interpretation, where somebody listens to the speaker through headphones and then simultaneously interprets and speaks the other language back into a microphone for other people to hear. Okay, so the piece you just heard represents the European Union. It is a truly unique organisation in terms of the scale of interpreting and translation that is involved. It is also one of the only places where whole legal systems, contained and defined by their respective languages, interact to legislate in 24 languages. In this regard, one law is only complete by considering all 24 language versions altogether. I wanted to create something that allows you to hear all these languages in one place, and just to appreciate the sound and richness of our neighbours' tongues and cultures. In the piece as well, I don't know if you could follow, but basically it's building up, and the way I have done that by building it up is through having the languages introduced historically in the year that the language or the member state was acceded to the European Union. So it started with Dutch, Italian, French and German, and builds up so that you get to hear all 24 languages. Forming my major project of my final year at Birmingham Conservatoire, I am composing music that documents and tells the story of the interpreters at the UN, the Nuremberg trials, the European Union, InZone, the ICRC, NATO linguistic support and court and medical interpreting. These people are both the linguistic and cultural bridges that connect nations to form global communities and dissolve barriers. Each choir member will sing in one of the 6 official languages of the UN, so English, French, Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin, Russian and Arabic. And the pieces will synthesize the languages with an ensemble and audio interpreters in action at meetings, unpicking how interpreting functions. There will be a concert on the 28th of March 2017 and a subsequent recording to be released. And so thanks for your attention, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to take any.
I think we've got... Hi, I think we've got time for... I think we've got one question, time for question. Anybody comment? I think I just kind of wanted to pick up on a couple of things there, and it's just like, I don't think they're that distinct, the difference between an interpreter and translator. I don't think you can be that distinct, because translation involves interpretation and so forth, and I think that's what we've kind of been doing this morning. So I think that just maybe would be something to think about. And also, I suppose I'd be curious as how does it represent the EU, what you're doing? Because it's kind of like, so I think there's various kind of levels there that would be really interesting to unpick or unpack a little bit. Because I think I invited Frank to present here because I thought in terms of what he's doing as part of the Conservatoire, as part of your PhD, is really interesting. And obviously when it's set, when you're presenting it in a fine art context and alongside the other things, then there's lots of other, I think, arguments and things that it kind of starts to mobilise, if you like. I think, and again, just listening to all those different voices, and actually, I was really interested in the text, what they actually claim in the EU. I think that's really interesting. So, again, I think it's something to maybe pick up on another time. But thank you very much for. Does anybody else got a question? Yes.
Hi, it's rather louder than I'd anticipated. My name's John. I was interested in the idea of the choral as dialogue, and I'm very uncertain about the technical language of choral work, but I'm interested in the idea of, in polyphony, many voices, of discordancy, and whether you feel a role for discordancy in choral work, and whether there's a pleasure in the discordant in dialogue, in a choral dialogue.
Mm-hmm. So one thing is that this track that you've heard is going to be the only one where it's not live in terms of the musicians and the singers. Mainly because of the nature of it, describing the EU, to be able to get the audio from their website. So I am actually writing for a choir. So the idea was how to make something that is happening through headphones at all these meetings, how to make that have sense and be appreciated or become art. And my job as a musician, making it a logical set to, having it choral and harmony, and so that you can get make pieces out of it. I suppose because I'm still in the process of writing, and the concert is going to be next year. At the moment, all I've looked at when I look in choral, because in the choral tradition, everything is about blending, and even when you conduct a choir, the vowel sounds and how you actually say a text is the main role is getting the whole choir to sound like one voice. And for example, you might say the word responsibility, but in order for it to come through to the audience, you'll have to actually say it as responsabilitai, because of the really high. If you sing really high, you can't sing the E vowel. So in terms of, so straight away, where I am composing for multiple languages at once, I've tried to find similarities in terms of the words, if it kind of vaguely sounds the same, and put those together. For example, you heard when it says international organisation, international international, so kind of the ear picks up on that. But in terms of discordance, that's really interesting. I would very much like to play with that idea, or at least think about it now, because in my sense, having these different languages, I've been trying to think how to make them come together. One thing I would say, though, is that with the singers, I've got a mixture of opera singers and someone singing in her natural voice, because the Arabic, for example, isn't going to be sung operatically, because it will hinder the language and you won't be able to hear it as much. And in a way, I don't care that this tradition of having to blend all the time, I'm going against that, because I want it to be able to stick out and have each language so that you can hear it, Yeah.
Thank you so much, Frank. I think that's really interesting, and that discordant and the harmony and kind of everything that we're picking up on. So we're going to move on now.
Thank you.